Welcome into another edition of Giant Sports Talk Live. We'll be talking about that team on the East Coast, the New York Mets again. They're the team that got to the bowl while there was still a little kibble left. We'll be maybe talking a little Giants as we get ready for the preseason and, a little over a month away. Maybe we'll have some Giants talk. But for now, it's Mets and Giants tonight on Giant Sports Talk Live, your Wednesday edition, January 21st.
And now, Giant Sports Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Eric and Glenn. And now, another special guest appearance on Giant Sports Talk Live.
Name is Lou Marsden. I'm Glenn. Eric will be popping in a little later on, I suppose. We hope. Fingers are crossed, toes are crossed. And I think he's just a little ticked off. He says, I don't even know if I'm going to show up tonight. Good to have you, Lou. The Mets, they're talking business in this offseason. They pick up Jett. They make a move yesterday for Robert. They're back in the news again today, Lou.
Yeah, the thing about the trade, and this is something that the Giant fans, you guys have to get used to. They traded him for two prospects, okay? And the Giants think their prospects are so good, we'll never trade with prospects, But, hey, all to the Mets. They realize the one thing about the Mets, too, is what they're realizing. Their division now is up for grabs. You know what I mean? Their competition is a little bit older. Last year they signed, Soto for so much. They now have a team that's going to be reckoned with. And here's another thing. One more team the Giants have to worry about when the Giants think they can be the third wild card, even though right now we can just barely see them, through a telescope. But, teams are making moves because they have to improve because everyone realizes, hey, you're not going to be able to beat the Dodgers, on paper, but you got to win your division. So this way, you're a number 2 or number 3 seed. Then, if you don't, you got to be up there so you get a wild card. Thing with the Giants is they're happy with what they have. That's bad management, that's bad leadership, and that's bad ownership. All the above.
Yeah, so the New York Mets go out. Let's not talk about, not just Freddie Peralta, who's obviously an ace pitcher. Major League pitcher Tobias Myers also goes to the Mets. So they got two guys who step in. They're going to contribute, Lou. Meanwhile, the Milwaukee Brewers get shortstop Jett Williams, right-hander Brandon Sproat. Those two are top-seeded players in the Milwaukee system.
Yep.
So there you go.
Peralta's only $8 million.
Two Mets prospects go the other way. So, yeah. So, Lou, this all goes back to the same crap we talk about, it seems, every night. Why do these teams are getting better, Lou? They're stepping up to the plate. How's that the baseball analogy for tonight? Other teams are stepping up to the plate while the Giants are, we're happy with what we've got.
It's funny. Later in the show, we'll talk about the new Hall of Famers that got elected yesterday. But, one of the biggest things. Oh, do we got somebody coming in?
No, that's just. Don't just ignore that.
All right. So, we're going to talk about the two Hall of Famers that are coming in. But last night watching the show, everyone criticized the Giants for making a trade where you traded a guy in the farm system for a future Hall of Famer. That's what the Giants and the old regime used to do. They did whatever it took to get to the dance. Now, we're not even invited to the dance. The other thing last night is I saw this, what really got me aggravated. Tom Glavine was on there. One of the best pitchers in baseball. He was part of the regime for the Braves. So, of course, they talked about Andre Jones, saying how valuable he was. And this is what made me think. He said, Lou, the reason why me and Maddox and all of us were so good and Smoltz is the catcher, yes, but it's who's behind us. So the most important positions to him were the second baseman. Right now, we have no clue who's our second baseman. shortstop. Our shortstop's a little above average, and a center fielder. He goes, if you have a good center field, that's what pitchers want. They get to the gaps and they catch everything. That's why I don't understand the Giants. We're happy with our outfield. Our outfield is so pathetic. You guys think Webb is good? Imagine if we would have a great center fielder, a great left field, and a great right field. He would then become an ace that you guys all think he is. And it also would help the whole staff. I never really thought of that, but he said, yeah, he goes, it's like a diamond effect. A catcher is good to make sure there's no pass balls and he can maybe throw a few guys out. But shortstop and second base are key because remember, they start all the double plays. You take it for granted. And the center fielder should be your best athlete in the outfield. Okay. The Giants sort of have it all backwards. We don't really have a center fielder. We have a center fielder that should be in right, and then we have a left fielder that I don't think mentally is always there because he makes so many mistakes, and that's what really sort of ticks me off because this season, the Giants haven't really taken care of these needs.
No.
It's the problem is, and we talk about Dan saying pick a lane. We still have a problem. We haven't really gotten our bullpen better. We haven't really got our defense better. And we're hoping cheerleader and Wright's going to be better. He's not going to be as good as he has. Our center fielder, who is 25th out of 26 defensively. And then we got a guy in left, which, as you remember, it was like a mystery out there. So I'm thinking the Giants are competing for the cellar in the NL West. And, I know everyone thinks, especially guys like Robert, oh, guys, we're good. We're better this year. We're not better this year, guys. Our bench is weaker. Mm-hmm. We have guys that are unproven. When you think like this, and again, I'm not going to blame it all on Buster. I'm going to blame it more on Mania and, some of the other owners is they're just happy being where they are, safe, and it's going to be by the second week of May when we're like 10-25. We're still going to be here. We're still going to be loving the show, but the Giants are going to be a wreck. I think they're a wreck right now. Glenn, what do you think?
Lou, you hit some solid comments right there and some great analysis of what's going on this offseason, or what maybe I should say what's not going on for the Giants this offseason. You talk about, everybody, if you want to roll with this guy Webb, and, it's lately it's been kind of split down the middle. Now a little more people are saying, well, maybe we should trade him. But nonetheless, if they want to roll with he's your ace, you rely on the ground ball. So there's a key point why, your double play tandem should be very important in this lineup. Shortstop to second, and second's a little thin for me. And like Sam says there, he makes a good point. A 500 team, we all know that, Lou. I don't know why the Giants don't know that, but they're good. We got good players, Lou. We got good players. But like I said to Eric the other night, good players don't cut it because every team's got good players. If you're a major league quality player, you're a good player. You're a good ball player. You can hit the curve, so to speak. It takes a lot to make the majors, but here the other teams go out and land the prima players, the prima donnas. That's why, Lou, you and I, we love going to the steakhouse, don't we? The Giants like hanging out at Burger King on the weekends or something. I just don't understand. And then you got in the news just last week, Lou, and nobody's really talking about this. You've got Buster and the whole regime. It's almost like a family vacation. They're over there. What are they? I don't even know what they were doing over there.
In Korea, because Japan and that part is already all taken by the Dodgers. They're trying to think outside the box. But as we know, the KBO, these players are not good. Okay, they're not good. Why are we going there? You might as well just go to Mexico or something like that.
They did that. They've already done that.
They have two schools down there. How about this? How about put people in there that are good at drafting, at coaching, at looking, because we have all these important things where every other team is good. I mean, I look at this Peralta thing. They gave up 2 prospects, but it's almost like, didn't the Giants really need 2 pitchers? Am I right? I know we have the youth, but God, they could have got a right-hander to help the bullpen, and you get a starter. Now, I don't know who they would have had to give up because the Giants really don't have anybody. They're not going to trade Eldridge because everyone thinks Eldridge is the greatest. We have no clue how he is. But you have a guy that's going to eat the innings. He makes $8 million. Maybe it's just not about the money anymore. Because if you have nobody, I mean, again, the Mets are the Mets. But my God, you got two pitchers. If the Giants would have got these two, it probably would have been an additional probably 6 to 8 wins. Because that's what the Giants need. But what we do, let's keep all our prospects. They're going to make it somehow. Come on. In fact, Glenn, when was the last time we had a prospect that's been good that's come up? I mean, Ramos, he's okay, but he's not something. Eldridge,
and in my opinion, wait a sec. Okay, Lou.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, Ramos, he's really not a guy that made the team at a camp. First of all, he was a guy that the only reason he made this lineup was because of need.
Yeah, because of need. When Lee got injured.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So to say that, we got this guy and he was cut, first cut, they set him out. When your first cut's the guy who comes up and makes the team and you got a little rah and pom-poms for him out in left field, which has been an issue for the Giants over the last 20 years, as you know, Lou. I mean,
yeah.
And this just goes back with the left field problem. What was it like? What did we do? You would know better than me, Lou.
It was since
20 years
18 straight different left fielders started opening day.
So in 20 years, we had 18 left fielders just in and out like a fiddler's elbow out there.
Yeah, and a lot of them played. I mean, I remember Connor Joe was here a week. Then he went to Pittsburgh. I mean, he was here like a week. And it's just one of those things. And, the other thing, too, is the Giants, when originally this offseason, it was the guy, Amaya or whatever, that lefty, where they were thinking, God, it's 120 million. We don't do it. Are you telling me Peralta, first of all, he's a stud, okay? He would make Webb now maybe go to that next level, and it would have taken the Giants now probably another 8 wins, but then you get 2 needs taken care of at 1. But that tells us we got to stop thinking that we have a farm system. The other night when we did our show, a lot of guys in the chat said, oh, God, Lou, you don't know what you're talking about. Our farm system's a lot better. Yeah, our farm system might be better because it was the worst 3 years ago. The worst. So the only way is to go up. But that's why we keep saying you need good farm system. Because if you had a good farm system, you could have made a trade like the Mets did. That's why San Diego at the trade deadline goes for it because they got guys. The other thing, too, is so many times I'll just bring up Webb. We could have traded Webb 2 years ago. We probably would have got 5 prospects for him. You know what I mean? That's what other teams do. When they're not going to win it, you got to take something. Yeah, Mike, Eldridge for Skubal, straight up's never going to happen because, first of all, Skubal only is here 1 year. And why would Detroit take a guy that hasn't proven himself in the majors? And you got to remember his numbers were not great in AAA. I went to a game up in Reno. He struck out 4 times on 13 pitches. Okay, let me repeat that. In one game, struck out 4 times and 13 pitches. I don't understand why everyone thinks Eldridge is the greatest. Okay, we have reports that literally Eldridge has gotten worse in his defense. So they're not going to really be able to play him first, okay? So what are they going to do? He's going to be our DH? Do you know what some of these pitchers are going to do to him when he's a DH? DH is one of the hardest positions to do, So I just don't understand it because, as we brought up before, Buster said he was going to do one thing. They've done the complete opposite. The Giants haven't spent any money. We have, we got a pitcher who's going to come back in July. We get these guys that have such a big upkeep, but I always realize this. Why are Giants the only ones after these guys? You ever notice that, Glenn?
Oh, I'm well aware.
When the Giants are in the conversation, there's 6 or 7 teams. But when we pick somebody up, well, we can't, we sign them and he might be good in July. It's gotten horrible. So it's just one of those things. I'm just getting sort of upset. And Eric has arrived. Eric, most importantly, I hope everything's okay at home.
Oh, yeah. Everything's fine.
You know, Lou, what you just said, it's bang on. And the people, it's the people who don't buy into the reality. They keep, they're like little, I always said to Eric, little chihuahuas that just nip at your heels. That's what these fans are like. Well, Buster said. Yeah, Buster tells me a lot of things for the last year. He tells me a lot of things, Lou. Whether I believe him or not anymore, I mean, I got to see reality come to fruition with this guy. And it's like Deborah Harry of Blondie. Remember Debbie Harry? The old Playboy model there, she used to sing, call me. He's begging people to make a trade now, I think. Nobody's calling, Lou. You talk about Scooble. The problem with Scooble is we don't have at least 5 Eldridges. That's the kind of talent that you got to have to make a deal for a Scooble. Plus, you're going to have to throw in Major League quality players. That's what the Mets did today. That deal with the Mets made today, Lou, they got 2 Major League quality starting pitchers. Eric, you missed a great start, boy. I'll tell you what, Lou and I are fired up tonight. What are you thinking?
And Eric, I assume you saw the trade, right? With Peralta?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. They got Peralta and what is that? Tobias Myers for
Talk to us. Yeah,
Brandon
talk to us.
Sproat and what was this? Jett Williams.
Two top guys go one way, but the Mets are doing business, Eric. They got 2 guys to step
Absolutely.
in. Talk to us. What are you thinking about this? And what do you think? How this just does not look
It
good.
sucks. It sucks. Did you hit these 2 super chats by chance?
No, we were waiting for you. You see, we got a cast. We got a real cast of characters.
Yeah, I see a bunch of people in there.
They just arrived, Eric. Right when you came on, the super chats hit.
No worries. All right. Lloyd Parsons, hey, there's our buddy from Canada, donates $2.79 Canadian. Shout out to my boy Glenn and Lou.
And Eric.
Give Eric Oilers forever. TBD, he just dropped this one. $5. Thanks, TB. Like I said before, the Dodgers management want to win more than the fan base. There's some truth to that.
And it appears there's a few other teams that want to win more than the San Francisco Giants, Eric.
Well, I don't know what's going on, man. Honestly, I don't know. The one thing that I thought they were going to do is going to be able to trade for a starting pitcher. The one guy that was kind of out there was Freddie Peralta. And unfortunately, the Giants weren't able to get it done for whatever reason. I don't know what the hell the reasons are, but I'm just getting sick and tired of it. Where you got these other teams going out there and taking care of business. They're doing trades and they're signing using their money, and they're able to go out there and do something.
Yeah. So like Lou and I said, you can't make trades if you don't got guys to trade, Eric.
You got guys to trade. You got 4 guys in the top 100. 4 guys in the top 100.
Well, it appears they don't want to give them up, or nobody wants them.
Trade them. No, we don't know that. No one knows. No, it might be the other way around. It may be the Giants don't want to trade them.
Right.
You got an influx of middle infielders. You have 23 pitchers on the 40-man. You don't need all 23, and you could go out there and do a trade. Figure it out. That's their job as the freaking president of baseball operations. You go out there, you got to make your team better. You have to. That's your job. And I'm getting sick and tired. I'm tired of the fucking excuses, man. I'm getting sick and tired of it. Go out there and make this team better. I keep hearing, hey, we're going to compete for championships. We're going to make some memories. Well, go out there and make some of these damn memories. And look, I'm not even, and have I been on here advocating to go out there and spin like the Dodgers? No. Could they go out there? Yeah, they could go out there and spend quite a bit of money if they wanted to, and they can make this team better. 100%. Look what Buster Posey did last year, and you're going to tell me this year all of a sudden that shit goes up in flames? Do you think that Willie Adames came to the San Francisco Giants to sit there and say, meh, if we win, we win, whatever? He just left the Milwaukee Brewers after they were contenders in the playoffs, right? Right? Come on. He probably wants to win. You trade for Devers. Do you trade for Devers to go and say, the hell with it? The hell with it. No, everybody knew even after the Devers deal, the Giants still needed to do some more. Yeah. And you can do more. And I'm telling you, man, when you see all these guys coming off the board, whether it's free agents or for trades, and the Giants ain't part of it. And again, I've already alluded to the different scenarios that the Giants have. Yeah, I'm just getting sick and tired of it. Go out there and make this team better. Damn, dude.
We're
It's
feeling
not
you,
that
buddy.
Going
We're
off
feeling
the
you.
rails. Eric with another epic sports take.
Yeah, another good one there from Eric, jumping in hot tonight, man, and he's a little hot
tired of
under the bacon collar there on that
and
t-shirt of his.
I
Eric,
don't-
I'm telling you, everybody feels the same way, man.
And that's the point. Is it's everybody else can see it, but for some reason the Giants are sitting out there just saying, "Hey, this is going to be okay."
What
And I don't want okay.
What
I'm
did I say to
sorry.
you, Lou?
I
That's
don't
what I
want
just
okay.
said to Lou. I said we recognize it. Lou and I, we got 115 people in the chat who recognize it tonight, Lou. But the Giants, we're okay. I'll tell you what, if they're not prepared to move any of these prospects, Eric, you better hope that these guys shine like a diamond, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all in on these. If they're not going to trade them, it means they're all in on these guys in about
Tell me
another
this,
year.
the Mets, look what the Mets are doing. They got some balls. They went out there and they traded some of their top prospects.
Yeah.
Right? What did the Cubs do? Are the Cubs? What are the Cubs doing? As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Cubs are spending more money than the San Francisco Giants. The Chicago Cubs are spending more money. You know what they did? They traded their top prospect to go out there and get the pitcher that they wanted, and they got him. You know why? Because they are being bold.
No, they're being aggressive. Yeah, Eric, and you know what? It goes against everything you and I have talked about for the last year. You said you brought in these guys, Devers, Adames, Chapman, big three, signed long-term. You got to build and win now. What are we talking about? Well, maybe these guys are going to be good in 5 years. Eric, just the wrong take. I want to hear from Vita. He's been waiting since we went on the air. Vita, what are you talking about tonight?
So Eric's rant right there, it's like he transformed into me, how I've been the past few weeks. That's how even in the chat, you guys have seen me, but I'm trying to take a rational approach to this. And what I think
that's what I've been trying to do.
There's nothing wrong.
Yeah, I know, Eric. Sometimes I'm like, damn it, Eric, just let it out. Let it loose. Come on, be like one of us. But I'm trying to think about this, and I'm thinking what the Giants are doing. You look at that top 100 list, besides Eldridge, all those guys are, single A. Davidson's double A player. But I think what Posey's trying to do is take another year, let these guys grow and mature, and then let's say a year from now, you can start trading these guys. And look at the Dodgers. When they do trades, it's a situation where it's like, yeah, we traded, our top shortstop, but we got a guy in double A that's just as good, and we'll have him up here in 2 years anyways. I think he's trying to strengthen at all levels of the system. So when you start trading these guys, you have guys right below them that are going to come right up. So you can afford to let these guys go. Because let's say they do trade Eldridge and, Johnny Level, whoever, or Joe Suar, whoever it might be. And let's say, behind those guys, you have no strong depth, then you're kind of screwed. I think they're trying to make it so they can look at their system and say, we're pretty strong up and down from single A up to triple A. We can deal these guys. And let's be honest, if they had done what the Cubs did too, if they signed Bregman and Cabrera, it's not going to make a difference. They're not 2 players away from contending. They need a lot of help in the rotation and especially the bullpen. They really, hurt themselves, I want to say, moving forward when they traded away, Rogers and Doval. Not that they were the greatest. I understand that. But at the same time, just that bullpen is really hurting right now. Yeah. And that's the one thing, at least Posey, I don't know. I can't excuse him for that. Signing those injured pitchers, I get it. If they turn out to be diamonds in the rough, that's great. But at the same time, they're going to struggle this year with that bullpen. That bullpen is going to be a disaster. You don't have Rodriguez. You don't have Foley. We don't know what is it, Henk is, the guy from Cleveland, what he's going to look like. What are they relying on? I think this year is a give Snell his money, sit it out, and then let the bullpen have another year of maturity and strengthen it up and down. And I hate even saying that because I'm always, come on, Posey, do something, Giants. But I don't think when you're thinking about it, they're not 1 or 2 players away. They're just not. They're not. No. If they were to sign Framber right now, would it really make a difference? When on the days he's not pitching, it's the same team we're all bitching about. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're anywhere close. They need a lot of help. So I'm thinking they want to see, is Schmidt for real? If they don't let the young guys play, we're never going to know. Is Schmidt for real? That's what they want to find out. Can Matos or Gilbert show that they belong in the bigs? And to me, the biggest question, all of those pitchers they all had, a lot of pedigree behind them. We're all, they're coming up, there were names. Then when they got here, they all kind of had blemishes. Can any of those guys show they belong? Can Birdsong get his stuff together? Is Wiz and Hunt the real deal? So I think that's what Buster's trying to do. Can any of those guys take the next step and show that they belong, so that we know moving forward we're kind of taking care of in that, in that regard. So if they were to sign a second baseman, what happens with Schmidt? Just we never know if he's good or not.
Well, they must know. It looks like they're going to roll with him. Eric, that's something that really ticks me off lately, Eric, is the fact, what other Major League Baseball, how many Major League Baseball teams say, we're going to see if these guys can cut it? Other teams, they groom them, they're ready, they come up, and they stick. And us, it's like, they got a shuttle service between AAA and the major leagues here. What is this grooming players to? Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing every year, it seems, Eric. Well, we want to see what he can do. You should know what he can do.
Yeah. Isn't that what last year was all about? I thought we heard the same thing last year. Hey, we're going to run with the young guys and see what they got. And you know what? And look, it's on Redux. Hey, guys, we're going to play the young guys and see what they got. Well, how many times do you have to play the young guys and see what you got before you got to make a decision? Hey, this ain't working.
Yeah.
And another thing, I agree. It'd be hard to just give up Birdsong, though.
Another thing Vita's talking about is the pitching, Eric. Vita, good takes tonight, buddy. Buster Posey dismantled that bullpen. We weren't talking about it being a bad bullpen last year. Eric, that's a bad bullpen right now. Buster dismantled our bullpen. Buster Posey got rid of our bench. I think our bench is right now. You got two best bench players aren't coming back, it appears. So it seems like Buster Posey's cutting it up, and I don't see the future. Lou, talk to me.
Vita, great takes. I feel the same way. I think, the one thing is you bring up a great point, a lot of holes, and maybe they come to the realization, hey, listen, this year we're going to play the youth, see what we have. But the problem is we have way too many youth guys that we're depending on. You got to remember last year at this time, we were all talking about how great Harrison is. Okay.
He's not going to even starting rotation for the Red Sox.
Yeah, he started one game last year. My problem is I have no problem bringing the youth if in the last 6-7 years the youth qualifies to be good on our team. We've been hearing all these guys, oh, they're the next, they'll be the next, this, and all these guys that come up are horrible, and again, I don't know when what's his name left to coach the Cincinnati Reds, that's really when the farm system really went down. That's why I'm a little concerned about Eldridge, because we've heard Eldridge. So let's just take Eldridge and put him to the side. We've heard these other guys a lot, that never came out of the farm system. This year we have a guy that we has to be on the 40-man roster or we got to get rid of him. You hear the same stuff. Our draft picks. Oh, God, this guy's 3 years away being a superstar. Okay? I have no problem with the two international shortstops, right? Because those guys are actually playing against major leaguers, right? Where they're coming from. But these guys that we have right now just are not cutting it. Last year at this time, we had 6 starters for 5 spots. Mm-hmm. Now I think we have like 3.5. Are you telling me? And we're not like the Yankees that are going to be missing the first 2 starters when they come here to opening day. Okay, Yankees are missing their 2 studs, but they have other guys that can replace them. With us, everything's a question mark. And as Glenn brought up, we are one injury to our starting staff of being maybe the worst in baseball. Where last year we were in the top 3, our bullpen, ERA, strikeouts, everything. It's amazing how in one year how much it's really dropped off. And knock on wood, again, I hope nothing happens to Webb, but you never know when you go to the WBC. My guy Diaz, who is one of the best relievers in baseball, if you remember what happened in the WBC 3 years ago, he got injured cheering a home run. So anything can happen. And the Giants have been blessed with their pitching. Okay? Mm-hmm. Let's remember that. We've had injuries to players, groins and everything, but that's been position players or hit, but not the pitchers. They've been sort of lucky, just knock on wood, I hope it goes. But, it's tough just right now because pitchers and catchers, they report in 3 weeks,
Yeah,
And
so
I've never seen probably in the last 5 years where it's so down going to opening day. It was like the Giants thing in San Jose. Nobody wanted to go. It's one of those things. The spirit is really bad right now. And again, a guy who we had quotes for the last couple of years, Roberts, trade last night. Today, Peralta. I'm sick and tired of us going to the table and then we're not even close. Same thing with Judge. We finished 4th out of 4 teams. Ohtani, we gave him the same thing. Stop lying. I don't know if it's Susan Sluss or Alex saying, guys, we're interested in this guy, but we never, ever get him. We're not close to anybody. We get these crumbs that are off injuries. And, that doesn't make a winning organization. But Vida, I loved your quote. Go ahead.
And he was a good guest tonight, Eric. We're going to move on. Vida, thanks for Vida. Is it Vida or Vida?
Vida.
Okay, there you go. Vida,
yeah.
Thanks for coming in, buddy. I think that was a great call today. Welcome in line 5.
Wow. Hey, well, hold on. Let's do this real quick. Before we get to you, Armand, let's check this out. Look at this tweet from Jeff Passan. Then the last week, the New York Mets have added the frontline starter they needed, the big bat that they needed, and a center fielder that they needed. Off seasons are long. A slow November and December does not preclude a monster January. And that's exactly what the Mets unleashed. Again, from Jeff Passan.
Okay, a monster January, Eric? That means, talk about a monstrous week. We only got a week left then. Jeez.
I don't know if I'm more proud of the Peralta trade or Eric's rant.
Oh, my God.
I'm more proud of Eric's rant than the trade.
Dude, I'm just tired of it, dude. I mean,
you know what I'm tired of? You know what I want to see? All the Met fans that hated on David Stearns.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I want all of them to cry and apologize on their knees.
Yeah, but weren't you one of them?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
I don't hate David Stearns. I was waiting because I know what this league does. They like to wait till January, spring training, to get certain players on opt-out deals and do this stuff because they like to drag everything out because they want the attention.
Yeah.
Because MLB offseason has to deal with football, playoffs, basketball, the bowl games for college football, So they like to drag this out.
Yeah.
So they stay in the media and, us talking about it. But holy crap.
I mean, let's talk about this real quick because as a Mets fan, you got to be happy, right? Now, Luis Robert, I'm a little bit on the fence.
Listen, the health, but I'd rather take the risk with Robert for 1 year, $20 million, than sign Cody Bellinger to $30+ million on an opt-out deal because that was my debate after the trade happened. The
speaking of which, right, Bellinger, no opt-outs, no trade.
No, he got two. He got 2 opt-outs. He did,
about a no trade clause, right?
I think that's what he came back to. I think he told the Yankees, him and Boris, they said, look, we will take your 5-year deal with the 2 opt-outs, but you got to give me a no-trade clause.
Okay. So
I think that's the one thing he asked for, was to have the no-trade clause for him to accept 5 years.
Maybe. I'm telling you, man, I don't know where to go because Peralta was one of the guys I thought maybe the Giants would have a chance at, right? And look, there's nobody else out there, right? There's nobody else out there to trade for a starting, but there's no one else that has been talked about.
Well, you got Mackenzie Gore with Washington.
Oh, shit.
I don't think the Marlins will do it.
Alcantara.
Sandy, but I don't think they will now because of them trading Cabrera and Weathers.
They traded both.
Now, come the trade deadline, might be a different story.
Yeah.
Just because
trade deadline, right.
Well, remember, he has a club option for 27 at $21 million.
Right.
A club option. So they're gonna have to really think about this. Even if they're in the mix, they might look at a Sandy trade as a baseball deal where they get more major league pieces back instead of prospects.
Yeah, I got you.
At least they're rolling the dice, Eric. People in the chat are saying, he strikes out, he's hurt. Is he any worse than what we've got in the outfield right now, Eric?
Huh.
Luis Robert? I mean, the Mets
good
went out
defensively. Good defensively. If his hitting come around, you got to remember, too, is when he was where he came from, he was sort of the man. He had to fulfill.
Yes.
Now he
He
goes
was-
to the Mets. He could bat like 6th or 7th. Everything's a plus. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, like we all talk about Chapman. If Chapman was on the Mets and he batted 7th or 8th, he'd be great. But with the Giants, because we have nobody else, he's got to be batting 4th or 3rd. You know, it just really depends where people fit in the lineup offensively. But, you know, you also got to remember, he's a lot better defensively than anything we have. So I just think it's important. And I thought it's a good move. I mean, boy, Mets are right now the flavor of the week. Congrats.
And I said to Eric last night, Lou, I know you weren't with us, but I hit that on the head last night with Eric. Didn't I, Eric? I said to you, fresh scenery can do a player good.
What a roster construction change.
Yeah. Look at Liam, our buddy from the UK. What's up, Liam? Man, I haven't seen him forever. Said I would have taken Luis Robert in a heartbeat, he says. All right, there you go. He's got a bat. There's no doubt about it. The guy has a bat. The problem is can he stay on the field?
And it just shows the White Sox should have traded him at the deadline. They were never going to get anything for what they were asking for. And they had to salary dump him to us. Like, you could have cut him. You could have traded him at the deadline. Maybe you get something a little bit more because now it's a year and a half. Or, well, it would have been a half because the team had an option for him this year at the $20 million.
I want to see, if you don't mind, Eric, Lou, I want to see Armand respond to this in the chat. And I think this is a strange one. I don't figure this out at all.
They haven't gotten better. They haven't gotten worse. It's a different type of team. It's a David Stearns team now. He likes athletic, and I think there's more contact in this lineup. This lineup is deeper than last year's.
Yeah, I think this is a better lineup. The Mets. I think the Mets are going to have a better season with this lineup.
There's less strikeouts. Like last year, we were a high strikeout team. These guys, Polanco, Bo Bichette, they don't strike out a lot.
No.
And they put the bat on the ball, especially with runners in scoring position.
I think, you see Mad Skill? I think he's talking to us, Eric. Go get Andujar. Why? Andujar, why do we got to go get a guy who's cheap? Let's get a cheap guy. He's cheap.
Why?
Stupid.
Why? No, why? Why? Why do you think that? We'll
because
answer
it's Giants baseball.
There you go. Because they don't want to spend money. Well, there you go. That's the reason why. That's the reason why. Look, I got a poll out there.
I'm tired of hearing that phrase, cheap.
I got a poll. Well, you have to. When we're talking about the San Francisco Giants, to a certain extent, you have to do that. Look, did they spend a lot of money last year? Yes, we get that. I understand that. That's not the point. The point is you just don't stop. The Los Angeles Dodgers, did they stop?
No.
No, they didn't. They keep adding on.
They waited out the market, and Kyle Tucker. I've heard Blue Jays fans say the Mets got used. Hey, Toronto, you got used. You probably had that 10-year offer on the table for him since December, and he didn't take it. Well, there you go.
There's our win. For as San Francisco Giants fans, that's one thing that we could hold near and dear to our heart. The Giants were not played. The Giants, right? Because how many times did we see this, Lou? Right? How many times did we see the Giants are close to signing this guy? I mean, it was just wind up being used. So hey, there's a win. And how about this? Real quick, Lloyd Parsons with another 279. Thank you. Says full props to the Mets, and I'm a Jays fan. This is a perfect synopsis of the offseason. Today, right? Bellinger goes back to the Yankees. Peralta is traded to the Mets. Yesterday, they traded for Luis Robert. What did San Francisco Giants fan? What was in the headlines today? Jung-Hoo Lee gets freaking hung up at the airport because he forgets his immigration paperwork. That's the news that we got. As San Francisco Giants fans, was it news of a trade? No. A player who forgets his shit back in Korea.
As Eric would say,
come on, man.
Focus.
Seriously,
no
do you
focus.
see what I'm saying?
No focus.
My God. I mean, where? How?
Yeah. And Eric and Glenn, one of the things you might want to forget is the Mets last year got Soto. But to begin this season, they lost Pete Alonso, which I didn't think was Pete Alonso was worth, right? You know, what he want when he went to Baltimore. But now look at their team. It's okay not to sign everyone because really when you think about it, Pete Alonso was a Met, you know, all the way through. He had the big homer, you know, last year. You know, it's one of those things. But look at them now. They lose a stud. They now got Bo Bichette. They got another pitcher. I mean, it's amazing when sometimes you let people walk, not because it just doesn't work out, but then look at the way they come back. It's the same thing. You have the Mets, Yankees, Dodgers. Everyone complains we need a salary cap, but everyone has money to spend. It's how you spend it. I think the biggest problem is we didn't need a salary cap. We need the 5 bottom teams to actually fucking start spending money. I mean, you got to remember, that's the problem. You have teams that don't want to spend, and then it looks like the top gets richer. No, the other thing, too, is we bought about this the other night. The Dodgers, they're always thinking of the future. Same thing with the Mets right now. They're thinking of the future. How are they going to be in 3 years? Everyone gets upset because of what the Dodgers did. What, are you kidding me? They have the best people putting teams together. We all have money. They've now built a machine. If you guys remember, 6-7 years ago, the Dodgers were crap. They were going nowhere. They had a divorce. They had all these problems. They are now where every team should strive for. You know, don't get jealous. Have the bottom teams spend money. You won't have this problem. I mean, every team should at least be $100 million. The TV contracts are huge. You know, there's money out there.
I'd say $150 million, Lou. 150.
Yeah. It's
one the of Giants
those
deal.
But
Giants is a $50 million deal. Theirs is 50 for the TV deal. But you know what, Lou? Eric, I got to give him his props, man. He's been calling all off season to go out and get that big pitcher. Go get a pitcher. Because you know, Lou, one way, another Deborah Harry and Blondie line tonight, Lou. One way or another. One way or another, the Giants are going to lose Robbie Ray. And what the hell are we going to have? Lou, we're going – am I wrong here, Lou? We're going backwards.
And Colorado's on our tails. They'll probably pass us within a year.
Don't even joke about that. I'm telling you. I wonder right now, Lou, if we are the fourth place team behind Arizona.
It's a given, you know, because, you know, the other teams want to win. You know, it's just one of those things. And it's amazing how baseball can change. I mean, Armand was a little upset. Hey, we need this, but he still had faith. You know, the thing about the Giants is we've been in the same predicament for 5 years. You know, it's like, well, yeah, hopefully, you know, or this, you know. And then we got sort of, you know, people forget when we made the trade for Devers last year, we were tied for first place. We got Devers. We wind up having a worse record. I think, you know, we were like 20 below 500 or something. It was horrible. So the problem is a lot of these other teams say, we made a mistake, let's move on. Thing with the Giants, they won't admit it. You know, like I said, last year we had 6 starters for 5 spots. We now have like 3.5. Our bullpen's worse. You know, it's like, and it's not too hard. I mean, just being an average fan that knows baseball can see it. You know, but, you know, what are we going to do? We're the Giants, and being a fan through thick and thin is just one of those things.
Lou, Eric's got me all wound up now, and it's my time to start ripping on the chat, Lou. It's been a while. It's been a minute. So listen, a cap won't change anything in baseball. Big market teams will still get the best players. We are a big market team, Lou. Start acting like it.
That's the problem. That's the problem. They're not, and no matter how much heaping and hollering we keep doing on here, they're gonna keep acting the way that they're.
It's a lot of teams that want to act like that, and that's the shitty part.
And you know what makes it even worse, right? You're in a market where you got the Yankees, right?
Hal has them on a budget. Hal has them on a budget. This was the stupidest stalemate between them and Bellinger. Like, as much as there was a stalemate between Boston and Bregman, Boston still did things around waiting for Bregman to make his decision, whether to go back to Boston or where he ended up with the Cubs. They traded for Sonny Gray. They traded for Wilson Contreras. They did things. The Yankees, they did small things. Brought back Ahmed Rosario. They traded for Ryan Weathers. Whoop-de-doo. But I was going to harp on Lou's thing about how the Dodgers are always looking ahead to the future. Freddie Freeman's contract is up after 2027.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Tucker, if you go to his baseball reference page, has 12 games at first base. You're going to tell me they won't consider moving Kyle Tucker to first base and then go get more defensive outfielders or have their young outfielders that are in the farm system go play the outfield?
Head in the game. Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Everybody talks about Juan Soto's just a hitter. He's not that great defensively. We're going to keep our DH spot open for when it's time to make Soto the full-time DH. Mm-hmm. That's why we're going to use it rotationally with some guys on days off where instead of playing the field, they DH.
Eric, buddy, are you starting to buy into my age-old line that we're going to be the last dog at the bowl even if we show up?
No, we're not.
Where's all the talent going to be?
You have to want to go to the bowl. They're not. You got everybody else at the bowl. The Giants aren't even getting to it. They don't care, man.
Exactly.
They don't care. They're happy. And look, I got a poll out there. Right now it's trending in no.
I just gave you a plug. Gave you a plug when you stepped away, Eric. I said to Lou and to Armand and everybody in the chat, I gave you a shout out. I said that Eric has been screaming that we need pitching and defense. You have been a proponent of go and get me some pitchers.
Yeah.
It seems to be that should be the priority, Eric, because as I said to Lou a few minutes ago, one way or another, we're going to lose Robbie Ray. We're going backward, Eric.
And there you go. Because what's going to happen after? Look, and you can look at it this way. Look, if you go sign Framber, right, he'll plug in when Ray leaves. Okay, you still got to fix that rotation spot next year as well. So what do you want to do next year? Do you want to fix 2 rotation spots, maybe more? Or do you want to fix even more, maybe 3 or 4 next year? Because we don't know how these young guys are going to pan out. We don't know. Tyler Mahle's only here on a 1-year contract. We don't know how that's going to pan out. Hauser is here for 2 years. Okay, we'll see what he does. But the Giants need to go out there and get a damn pitcher, man. That's all. Look, and this is the thing. Let Tony Vitello work with the lineup to get a little bit more out of them as far as their in their offense, right? Maybe they can hit a little bit better. But if you go out there and you get a bona fide freaking starter, well, guess what? Just let it ride on those pitchers, man. It's going to be, don't get me wrong, it's not going to be easy. But my God, you have Chapman, you have Adames, you have freaking Devers. And you went out there last year and you got them for a reason. And the reason wasn't to go, all right, we're just going to sit there and just whatever.
And the harp on Eric's thing about next offseason. The last time the CBA was up, free agency was like a frenzy. People were signing left and right. That might happen right after 5 days after the World Series. You might get Scooble to sign early. Peralta, if he doesn't sign an extension with us, might sign early. Like, the free agency might be fast come November of this year.
I'm going to see something.
Hey, Armand, I see people in the chat talking about Soto, but I think Soto's going to have a bigger year next year. First of all, he's familiar with the Mets, the system. Yeah. You guys don't realize how young and how good Bo Bichette is, okay? They're both going to make each other better, okay? It's going to be a great 1-2 punch. When you look at the Yankees, right, their biggest problem with Judge is really no one could really protect him. And, he was sort of, it wasn't those things. When you have 2 ahead monster, again, he's a lot better than Pete Alonso. Bo Bichette can carry the team. Soto can carry the team. I mean, they're dangerous. So, and the other thing is, you guys are all upset. You thought Soto was a waste. If he was on the Giants, he would have made our team better, and we wouldn't be saying that. So I just want to bring that up. I'm a big fan of Bo Bichette. And you got to remember, last year, going into the playoffs, he was injured. He wasn't really healthy. Now he's another year. He's familiar with, he's going to be great. So I give it all to the Mets right now. And they're going for it. Why not? And without this week, the Knicks are having problems, right? So the New York Giants in football signed Harbaugh. It was all about him. The Knicks right now have lost like 11 out of 12.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody cares about
out
the
here in New
NBA.
York.
They're crashing. Right now, it's all about the Mets. The Yankees might have signed Bellinger just because they want to be noticed, because the Mets are so dominant right now in the New York area. That's the problem with the Giants. We have no competition. Imagine if the Giants would have done this. It'd be huge, because the Niners are, behind us. And I think I got to give them credit with that. Right now, everyone's excited about the Mets. They're talking about them.
Yeah,
so it's one of those things.
Because Bellinger signed this afternoon, like right after the Bo Brissett press conference. Mark, I would say wait to see what Bo does in the season to get your daughter a Bo jersey. Here's my advice. If he makes the All-Star team, get her the Bo Bichette jersey. But Bo Bichette is a guy we needed last year in our lineup for how he hit the ball. We had so many stolen bases. Soto went 30 for 30. Lindor went 30 for 30. We were having guys steal bases left and right. But you know what our problem was? Not bringing them in, runners in scoring position. If we had Bo Bichette on the team last year, all the games we lost that made us choke in the final 2 months probably changes everything around.
Yeah.
Gonna be a long year, guys. Gonna be a long year.
It is, and that's what sucks as far as now. As a Mets fan, hey, let's see what happens. You address some problems. You got a starter now. Yeah, I mean, granted, you probably need more than one, right?
No, so I'll give you the rotation as is right now. Peralta, McLean, Peterson, Holmes, Senga, Minaya. We still got Tong. He's probably going to start in AAA. We got a Christian Scott returning from injury. We got Tobias Myers, who's a swingman. He has started, and last year he pitched out of the bullpen. And here's a funny story. Everybody want to laugh? The Milwaukee Brewers didn't draft Tobias Myers. They didn't sign him as like a free agent. They traded for him from the Tampa Bay Rays. Do you want to know who they gave up? They gave up Junior Caminero. Yes, that Junior Caminero hit 40 home runs for the Rays last year at third base. You don't think the Brewers could have used Junior Caminero's bat in the playoffs last year?
Yeah. Yeah, darn tootin'.
But
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
By the way, Baseball America, prior to this trade, the Mets had 6 top 100 players. Jett Williams was 71, and Brandon Sproat was 81. And
that was the Baseball America one, right?
Baseball America.
Yeah.
And
you know what? I'll give Armand, you guys at least now. I mean, they don't do anything else. At least now you got a little buzz, let's see what we do. Eric, the Giants,
we are going to take over.
Fail. There's no what excitement is there going to be heading into spring training at this rate, Eric? For us, what excitement? There's none. I lost my favorite player, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And now I'm stuck with like nine Wilmer Flores jerseys. I still got my Pilar jersey I got 3 months out of. Oh, God, I'm not buying any more jerseys. That's it. I'm out. I'm going to start wearing my Mets jersey. I got a Mets Wilmer. I'll start wearing my Mets jersey. How about that, Armand?
Go right ahead. More than welcome.
Me. You know what, Eric? It's
Did anyone hear what John Shea had to say on KMBR today by chance?
Probably nobody. The ratings are in the tank. Is anybody listening to that?
I think... if I'm not mistaken, I think John Shea was saying that Buster Posey has the ability to go spin if he wants to for the quote-unquote right player. So
what the hell is he looking for?
Who's the right player? Yeah, tell me. What's the criteria? What is the criteria for the
two for the price of one?
Yeah.
Can someone tell me?
You know what I think the right player means? An opt-out deal. That's what I think it means. Get them on a short term, maybe like 3 years, $32 million, and opt out after the first 2 years. That's what it means to me. Right player. No, you mean right contract, short term.
No, I'm gonna go find it.
I'm even surprised, Eric, that Buster Posey. Buster Posey wants to make a name and stake his, his flag on this team, Eric. Why isn't he out there? If he is, I see again, I'm not buying into that, Eric. Because if I'm Buster Posey and I want to turn this freaking thing around as a guy is a giant legend, going to be a Hall of Famer, in the role he's in now, if they're giving you free will to spend, what's he sitting on his ass for? Sitting on his hands? Why isn't he spending it? If Lou says to me, go to Tommy's, here's an open bar, I'll need that wheelbarrow to get home. I'm not going to, I shouldn't. Yeah, you spend. I don't believe a thing. They're pulling a Pinocchio, Eric. They're bull crapping us.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to listen to this real quick and find out what John.
Okay, why don't you listen to something? And you know what we haven't done in a while? Lou gets really ticked if we don't talk about. Well, I just gave him a little plug. I gave him a little plug there. How about our friends over at Tommy's? Want to say hi to the folks at Tommy's, Lou? All right.
Giant Sports Talk Live, brought to you by Lefties in Burlingame. Visit Lefties for all of your Giants collecting needs. By GenesisGoldIRA.com, Signatures for Soldiers. Duxwell Printing. For all of your printing needs in the Bay Area, visit Duxwell Printing at 37 Wentworth Place in San Francisco. And by BetterCreditCards.com. For the best credit card choice for you, visit BetterCreditCards.com. Covering the San Francisco Giants nightly online. We are Giant Sports Talk Live. Now, back to Eric and Glenn.
Eric's doing a little homework there. I apologize to Eric. He had to pop out, I guess, to listen to that. I thought he could listen to that while we ran the commercial timeout. And you know what? Regardless of what the Giants do this year, Lou, it's frustrating now, but I know you and I'll be there opening day, and we'll be here every night talking about our favorite team.
Your number one source for Giant sports talk and debate. Always has been, always will be. Giant Sports Talk Live.
That's right. Some nights we just don't have a whole lot to do but gripe and bitch and complain. Armand, look at Armand. A little trade will make a man smile, won't it, Lou? Look at that.
Yeah. I think I inspired them by being contributor of the year.
Lou's still waiting for his. He hasn't gotten his award. And that was before I got into the margaritas. I was supposed to bring his award up to the Tommy's, and I go, it was already on. What was it, Lou? The 83, the 85? What was it?
38 Gary.
You think, Armand, you think it's a little nuts, when you head over to New York?
Jersey.
From New Jersey to New York? Holy crap. Take that bus cross town in San Francisco rush hour. Holy crap, Lou. Are you feeling me? That was a nightmare. I almost got in a scrap. We were about 4 blocks into the ride. Oh, Bernice is like, calm down. Calm down. Although I think she wanted me to get it out of my system before I go to the bar. I didn't want the bouncer taking care of me up there. Lou, well, I think Lou's the bouncer, actually, up in Tommy's.
Yeah, it's sort of rough. To be nice, I'm the only gringo when I take the 38 Gary, and the whole thing's packed. It's one of those things. It's probably like, when you're in New York and you take the subway sometimes. But it's, one of those things. But, getting back to the Giants, it's just one of the things, we all complain the big teams. It's the same teams. It's all about spending the right money at the right time for the right people. It's just one of the and then talking about planning, is Armand brought up a great point. Freeman's retiring. Do you know who comes? You know who's going to be a free agent that year? A guy. He's sort of decent. He plays shortstop for the Cincinnati Reds. Switch hitter. See, it's all about getting ready. Another empty, another superstar comes. So, it's just one of those things. And I think that's the biggest Giants problem. They don't think of the future, and they just don't have a plan. I mean, I don't think they have a plan. But, what are you going to do?
Sorry
Eric, how was it?
Sorry about that, buddy. I thought you could hear that while we ran the commercials. So sorry.
No, it's when your guys are talking, I can't hear it because it's all the same. All right, let's listen to what John Shea had to say on KMBR, just talking about what the Giants are doing here. Hold on one second. I think I got something in here right there. Let's go. All right, let's listen to what John Shea said earlier this morning on KMBR.
Hole in right field, and in the middle of the lineup. And as I mentioned in the story, the marketing landscape as well. I mean, if they want ticket, tickets to be sold, if they want interest, Jimmy's hurt. The 49ers are out, and it's baseball season coming up. But they need more than that. The A's are gone. It's their market and their market only. They were 11th in payroll as we speak. They're not yet at the tax threshold. Dozens of millions more they could spend before even getting close to the $440 or $240 million threshold. So, there's time, there's money, and now it's just a matter of will they.
It's great stuff, John, and I'm with you. The last question is the elephant in the room, and you just touched on it there. I have the spot rack right in front of me. They're at $226 million. The tax is $244. They have 17.1 according to Spot Track. So here's my elephant in the room question. Is current ownership not willing to go the extra mile financially? Meaning, are Buster's hands tied to a certain degree?
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. And after multiple discussions in groups and individually with Buster Posey and Greg Johnson, and Zach Minaj, it's about this front office focusing on a guy, bringing that proposal to ownership, and ownership signing off on it. And it's just a matter of finding the right guy. And as I keep hearing from the front office, you need the other guy to be involved too. You need the free agent to say yes. You need the other team to say yes. I think they're knocking on doors. They just need someone to open it at the right price. And so far we haven't seen it. But I don't think it's a matter of ownership saying, we ain't spending no more. That's bad business. And I think that's not very good common sense.
All right, Johnny. Well, it's Jan
there
21.
You go.
What do they have? They announced the.
There you go. So what is this then, Lou? I mean, come on. I honestly, I don't. And
you got to remember what's happened since this morning.
Right.
A lot has really happened.
A lot's happened since that interview. Bellinger went back to the Yankees, and Peralta was traded to the Mets, and so here we go.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's the thing, we talked about, I remember there was a few people out there saying, "Oh, Vitello is going to bring people. He can attract people." He ain't attracting anything right now. He just isn't. And we don't know. Maybe I don't know about as far as free agent, but for trades, they should be able to get a trade done somewhere. You would think, right? I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell's going on, Lou.
Well, do you think maybe it's all about asking for Eldridge and they're not asking for anybody else? Because maybe these teams that need something, you can't, you don't want to make a trade for somebody single A. You need somebody that's going to help your team now, not in 4 years. The one thing too is somebody said in the chat, and I want to bring this up, that single A San Jose Giants won the title. Okay, that's great, right? So if you remember, they won the title 5 years ago, right? Do you know how many of those players from the single A team made the major league team? Remember, these were the champions of the single A.
Yeah, you're at the very bottom of the minor league freaking
One guy made the majors. So stop talking about, we won in single A and they're going to get up to. It's so hard. If you notice, the biggest jump is double A is so different. than single A. You know, it's sort of like high school to college. Okay. Triple A, if you remember last year, Giants had the flavor of the week. They were batting 386 in Triple A. They get to the majors, they're batting $120 and they're sent back down. You know, it's not like that. So I think it's just important that, you know, we got to start thinking wisely. Oh, Eric, we have a new super chat. I sort of like what this guy asked. But I think, you know, the one thing about the Giants and John Shea, what I like is he doesn't really work for things. He brings up a great point. He knows, because his sources, they have the money. I think so many times is the Giants probably hate when something like this comes out with John Shea, because it's not like Susan or Alex, oh, well, they have the money, they're thinking. If you remember last year, they had money and they didn't use it either. So now this is 2 years going to the year that they didn't. You know, where's the money going? You know, and the fans, you know, 2.9 million. Again, I told you by May, with our schedule, it just got tougher because don't we play in May against the Mets? Well, now that's going to be a tougher series than to begin with.
I think you play us in April.
Oh, April. Now it's gotten really hard. We're going to have to go against Peralta. And we're going to have to go against Bobo Shed. It's not getting easier for the Giants. It's getting tougher.
Lou, that's part of that April schedule. That's part of that schedule in April. We could be so I'm scared of the month of April, Eric. How about you?
Yeah. It's not going to be pretty. Lloyd, hold on real quick. Actually, I forgot JB. He said, Eric, don't panic. I missed that. He said that when I was in middle of a rant. Thanks, JB, for that $2. Lloyd, oh, yeah, we said that. He also donated $6.99 Canadian, says, would love to meet you guys for a pint. Sorry, Glenn. Can't bring Alexander Keith's.
India Pale Ale. Well, I'm into the as Lou can attest, I am well immersed in the margaritas at Tommy's.
There you go. All right. I tell you what. And this is what I'll tell you where I'm a little bit perturbed, because John Shea, I'm not going to criticize him. He said he's talked to numerous sources saying that if Posey finds the right guy, that ownership will take a look at it, I guess. That's kind of what they said, right? If that's the case, then why did the owner, or I should say the principal owner of the San Francisco Giants, tell 3 different people, Susan Slusser, John Shea, and Alex Pavlovich, that they don't want to do big contracts? Why would he come out there and say that? But then now, when we're, getting pretty deep here into the offseason, we're only 3 weeks away from pitchers and catchers. Now, all of a sudden, oh, no, Buster Posey can get who he wants. He can go get what he wants. So what is going on here, man? What is going on? And here's the thing that pisses me off. It absolutely handcuffed what Buster Posey can do in the offseason when it comes to trades. Because every damn club now knows that that will probably be the path that the Giants take in trying to improve the roster. So the asking price is going to go through the roof, right? It just is.
Yeah.
And it's just now at this particular time, with all the free agents coming off the board, where's the only way you could go? The price is going to go up just for that fact as well. So
are they keeping it real though, Eric? I'm wondering, and it seems to be playing out. Lou, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think even the media, like a John Shea, do you think they kind of stroke, well, this is Buster Posey, and they kind of put him on a pedestal, so to speak? Oh, he can turn this around. He can spend money, blah, 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 because he's Buster Posey. Well, he's not getting the job done. While you just said, Eric, ownership has, again, Giants will tell you one thing, and you go down the hall and open up another door, and they'll say, don't listen to what he said. This is how it's going to be. There's different stories coming from the same office. Who do you believe?
Yeah. I know.
It's ownership deflecting it all to the
100%. 100%.
And by the way, his Major League Baseball, you could take the word baseball out of Major League Baseball. It's called Major League Budget, folks. That's right. Budget. Because they all do. Outside of the Dodgers and even my team, everybody else does a budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't you guys agree that it's not you? But they can talk about what Buster has the keys to the kingdom. He can spend when the owner says, "That's it."
Yeah,
that's it. Who are you gonna believe? The man with the golden pen, the guy with the signature on the check. I'm gonna go with his line of thinking.
What have I said? Owners make the final decisions on the players, the signings, and even the trades.
Oh Jesus! I need my heart pill. Oh,
Yeah, and Eric and Glenn from 1983, the Thompson twins, one of their big hits was lies, 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 get up. That's the problem with the Giants.
yeah, they're going to get you.
They're going to get you. They're telling you what you want to hear, but it's not facts, you know. And it's sort of amazing. The thing about the Giants, they want their money in October before the meetings. Manager means, guys, we're going to go for it this year. They have all their season ticket holders pay. They do all this. Once they get their money, they just sit back and say thank you. You got to remember.
Lou, I think you got to change your approach there, Lou. Don't go with the 80s. I invite everybody in the chat tonight to run over to your Spotify or your YouTube. Stay right here on YouTube and look for The Who. You keep buying into this crap. It's called Won't Get Fooled Again. And you keep getting fooled again over and over, year after year after year. And again, you know, I don't always throw bouquets out, but you know what Dan did on the show the other night? Dan broke down year by year by year, going back some 30 years. They win 72, 73. They win 87. Then the next year, 71 wins, 73. There's no consistency. And don't tell me this is a great Giant team over the years. It's not if you look at the numbers, Eric. So good job by Dan over there.
Yep. But still doesn't change the fact that the Giants shouldn't be in this position, but they are. That's
we're the Giants. We're not Colorado. You know, we're not Colorado. We're not some of these other bottom of the barrel teams. You know, and the thing is about the Giants, they can't use a 3-5 anymore. That was over a decade ago. Okay, you had one winning season since 2016. In 10 years, you've had one. Again, a winning season to me is winning 85 games, maybe 83, not this 81 and 81, 80 and 82. Come on, guys. 1 year, and that was a fluke. That was still the worst thing that's ever happened in this franchise, 2021. Because if you take that out, 10 years of losing baseball. I'm sorry, but you have a ballpark. It's now paid for. You now have owners, the land, that's paid for. They're making money in real estate. There's no excuse. All we ask for Giants fans is this. Spend the money you make. So last year with $2.9 million, the Giants made like $386 million profit. Most teams that Larry Krueger said, an average team will spend 75% of what they made the year before. They're not even doing that. You know, it's...
Lou and I are going to be drowning our sorrows each and every night the Giants are playing. Well, maybe it would be home games too, Lou. They'll have it on the big screen. You and I will be Tommy's drowned in our sorrows before we do the show this year. And then it'll get a little violent. Then it'll get out of control.
Well, there is a secret weapon, Glenn, that when we go to Tommy's, they have a syrup that all we need to do is add ice and a little tequila, and we'll have a Tommy margarita. We'll have to have it in our seats in a little celebration. And like Eric said the other night,
what are we
guys,
going to celebrate? We're going to celebrate, Lou.
Well, we're going to celebrate just us being alive and sitting in the front row.
Being there.
We made it to a game. But like Eric said,
Freddie Peralta, baby.
Yeah, but it's going to be tough. But hey, the one thing is, not only are we going to be on here, we're going to be able to put our sorrows at Tommy's. And like I said, guys, we're putting together something that's going to be pretty nice in March. And when you guys say you want to meet us, we're all going to meet at Tommy's. Just let us dot the I's and cross the T's, and we're going to have a fun time. That's what it's all about. And again, that's why we do this show.
Yeah.
You know, imagine how boring it would be if we had everything. I mean, it's sort of funny when right now it's all dropping.
Hey, I'll take everything.
Yeah.
I'll take it. We can settle with a little quiet, a peace and quiet and boring for a while. Let's win some games, baby.
All right, I put a poll out there, guys. When the Giants traded for Devers, did you think the Giants would continue to add? Yes or no? Got 19 votes in there so far.
I'd say no. All they're going to say is we spent.
I think I deserve credit because I brought that up when the trade happened. I said this might be the big move that they do, and they don't spend a lot in the offseason.
And they'd already spent big on Adamas, don't forget. Long term.
Yeah, but the Giants they're okay, man. It's okay. It's okay to go over to CBT.
Yeah, but it's okay, Eric. But it's okay to play 500 baseball. It's okay.
Well, that's the problem.
So they're $17 million away from the CBT.
No, where are they? I think they said they're at 227. I think that's the number I've been seeing. So let's see. Where are we at here?
And Armand, you got to remember that we're paying Snell $14 million this year. Good job.
So when he beats us,
The
we're
pitch for
going
the
to pay him to
Dodgers.
beat us. Isn't that cool? What a
That's-
concept.
So
See-
the Giants learned from the Nationals when Scherzer was on the Mets. He was getting paid by the Nationals to pitch against them.
Oh, don't throw out that name. Oh, that'll be the next week's flavor of the week. Well, they haven't done anything. Scherzer will be back on there.
Scherzer and Verlander are still out there. Come get some.
Yeah.
Well, this is what when I look at MLB COTS, I see 207. 207 for the Giants. People are using Sport Track, and they said they're at 227. I don't know where that 20 million difference is. Honestly, I don't know. But when I look on COTS, it shows the Giants are currently at 207. Again, I don't know which one's correct or not correct. So
Still dishing out a lot of money to guys.
so you're
who
anywhere
playing for it.
between 20 something million to 17 million under the CBT.
You know about that, Armand. Has there been a Bobby Bonilla sighting lately?
No,
You should
not-
demand he come back and play. You should demand he
well,
on the
when
bench.
when Steve Cohen officially bought the Mets 5 years ago, everybody thought he'll just call up Bobby Bonilla and buy out the remaining of the deferrals. On his press conference, he says, "No, why don't we just celebrate it every July 1st? We'll have a Bobby Bonilla day at the stadium." I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Remember, Armand's owner just announced they're doing a new sphere in Washington D.C. So he need to get the Mets coming and more tickets sold. You know, I mean, those things are expensive. A mini sphere is he going to do in Washington D.C.
So I'm on Fangraphs, and they say estimated 2026 payroll is 185.
That's okay. The 185. Well, I see 175. See, that's not taken into consideration of the CBT, if I'm not mistaken, because there's two different numbers.
Yeah.
There's the payroll, and then there's the year-end 40-man, and then the CBT tax. I look at the CB tax 40-man, which takes in consideration, you know, if you're going to get penalized or not.
See, Lou is what the majority of the Giants fans are going to be doing next year. Just hanging out, taking selfies, just hanging out. Who cares about the product on the field? It's just a night out. I hate that. Did you get
Nice.
a good one there, Lou?
This is it's
Facts.
tough to talk.
I was taking
right
a
now,
photo.
It's tough to talk Giants baseball.
because they have the Giants total for the year, 82. And I'm definitely
Oh, take the under.
There's no way.
That's
There's
a game,
no way.
Lou. What's it paying? 2-1?
Oh, you're
Lou?
muted.
Talk to me, buddy.
minus 110. I mean, the last 3 years I've bet under the Giants every year. I mean, last year it got to a point where I actually had to sweat and it landed on the number. But yeah, it's bad, dude. Giants, C74. Now Vegas usually has them between 79.5 and 81.5. So, you know, they're at
Someone was
82.
in the chat yesterday, Lou, saying
Yeah.
DraftKings has it at 80.5.
Which I think is it's probably right where it should be if you're the line.
Yeah.
But I don't think so.
Last year the Dodgers were 106. I mean, that was a little ridiculous. You know, I'm not sure
Do you
what it is,
agree,
but-
Eric? You agree if they come under? And what about you, Lou? I think the reality is they come under because they just don't have the depth of pitching.
Yeah, I think definitely they're under. I mean, mine was 82. I definitely think that's an under, and I think the problem with the Giants too is we're thinking no injuries, no nothing, you know, and we're hoping, you know, as Armand, you know, we might have told Armand, you know, we have 23 pitchers out of the 40-man roster. We have no clue out of those 23. If you take probably 6 away, the other 17, we have no clue how they're going to do it. They're probably high 4As. Remember last year there was a terminology, we had a bunch of 4A players, you know, oh, they're good AAA and hopefully they can make it. You know, that's a mystery. Maybe out of those, maybe 20% come through. That means 80% don't. So
So
You're
I'm
not
on
gonna be able to
I'm on
500 with that.
DraftKings right now. The over/under for the Giants is 81.5.
81.5.
The over
I don't
is
know
nine,
why are they not looking at that pitching staff and saying
the over is
that?
minus 105. The under is minus 115. My Mets
Yeah, I was going to ask.
over/under 89.5.
Yeah, probably just went up from today.
Whoa!
Well, can I just say something? You know what I think's the biggest crock here for over-unders? The Phillies. They're at 90.5. And
Yeah.
they're running back the same team, folks.
Without
And-
Ranger.
And without Ranger, and Wheeler's probably not coming back till the end of April, beginning of May.
While you're on there, hey, what are the Dodgers, just out of curiosity's sake, with what they got there?
Seriously, we really got to go there?
I really want to know.
99.
We want
113.
over under.
No, they'll
What?
come lower. 104.
Eric, you want to take a guess?
104 and a half.
Nah.
They
Probably
were
106.
106 last year. So.
I'll say 106.
102.5 over under.
I think that's a little low, to be honest. If they can get you 100 wins, they got a
What did they have for the A's?
team. I mean, think about it last year. What are they? They were
That's
decent in the lineup.
162. 38 games over.
The A's are 75.5 over under.
75.
And there's a team
Arizona,
that- there's a team that
Arizona's
could surprise you.
79.5.
The A's are a
Really?
team that could surprise you, though. They're coming, man. They're
They
coming.
got no pitching, though. That's the problem.
I
that's
just
the
like,
way-
I don't know
They
you guys.
got
I don't
one
know
ace.
you guys. I think they got an
Fantastic.
exciting product.
They got a fantastic young lineup. There's no doubt.
Okay, here's another one I find sketchy. Atlanta, 88.5. I know they're getting a lot of their guys back from injury.
Yeah,
but
they're
you really
pitching.
did- I-
He's-
I
yeah, but they
think
just
that- I think-
they just signed a guy, and he's already injured now. Ha-Sung Kim's already out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
that's
short
I-
Ha-Sung
I-
Kim is next year.
That sucks, dude.
Oh my God!
But it's okay. They got. Hey,
Isn't
they
this-
went out there. But look what the. You see what the Braves did? They went out there and got Mateo. Is that
Oh.
okay? That's fine. We'll go get Mateo.
But at least these teams are making moves.
Yeah.
They got the
Getting people
Orioles
excited.
now. They got Baltimore at 84.5. I wonder how much it's going to jump if they get a Framber or a Gallon if they bring in one of those guys.
Hey, before we get out of here, we've almost been going an hour and a half. The last big guy left on the board, Framber Valdez. Glenn, where's he go? Where's Framber sign?
Oh, Lou, you take that because I got everybody's picks from about a month.
Yep. Where does he go?
Do you think maybe he goes back to Houston?
I don't think
They've
so.
been really quiet.
The
There's got to be a team we're not thinking about.
Framber. I had a member. Oh yeah. I remember I made the wild speculation he goes to Milwaukee.
You said Framber goes to Milwaukee.
Armand said Toronto, and Eric said Baltimore.
Baltimore. Yeah.
Baltimore.
I kept the
well, I'm going to change that.
nice notes.
Did I get any correct, Glenn?
Well, as a matter of fact, if you look closely, do you see the name? That I'm always backward. See the name Bo? What's in the middle? Armand said the Mets.
Oh, look at that. Hey, got it. Hey, look at that. Nice.
Hey, Mark, see? Award winners bring real players.
And then Ranger,
Oh,
you're saying
nice
you're
play.
talking about Ranger Suarez, Eric?
Nice play. Yeah,
Ranger
Rangers
Suarez. I said the Jays. Armand says Baltimore. Eric, you went Phillies.
I did.
So there you go. Armand. Holy cow.
Colorado is 52.5 over under.
I think they go over.
52 and a half.
I think they go over.
My
There's your
God.
there's your
What about
twin
Chicago
pick.
White Sox?
Over on Colorado and under on the Giants. Make it a parlay.
They got some studs. They're young.
They're
but the White
65
Sox
and a
are-
half.
They're higher
Yeah,
than the
see?
Rockies.
Well, they got
Dude, they
they
have-
got
they have
they
a-
got more young guys on the roster to.
Yeah. They're studs. They're about 2 years away, and they're going to be dominant. I mean,
Remember, they
last
brought in
year,
Murakami.
Yeah.
They got the two young catchers in Queso and Teal. They got Colson Montgomery, who could probably break the opening day roster to play center field for them.
yeah.
Like they got their shortstop is
Their
a
youth
tremendous
is
talent.
so
in
much
it.
better than the Giants. Not even close.
I think Armand is under contract with MLB Network. He's bringing the stats. Like, at least he
There
brings
you
the
go.
stats. He doesn't go like Tommy D. Oh, hang on, I got something here.
What do you think is the
Orange.
big hang up for Valdez? Is it money, years, both?
It's 32, the qualifying offer, and they're going to use the cross-up incident as an excuse. Even though I heard from a very good friend of mine who's an Astros fan that he's a well-known diva, But the cross-up incident is like the only type of incident he's ever had.
He's ever had. That's the only incident he's ever had as far as on the field.
Yes, yeah.
Ooh, we got the big
Real quick, I forgot. Steve said this, and I'll lose my shit. If the Giants sign a 1-year contract to either Verlander, not so much, but Verlander's not going to come back to the Giants. But if they sign freaking Mad Max, oh my god, dude!
You know what I'm gonna do?
Oh my god!
How bad is that, Eric? You know what that quantifies as lose crumb, the last crumb in the bowl.
Oh,
I'm gonna do two wild card predictions for Framber and Gallen.
Oh, okay. I forgot about Gallen.
This is my predictions for those two. You can write this down, Glenn. Framber.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Framber to the Padres. They're still looking for starting pitching, and I could see them giving out the Pavetta deal.
Wow.
And Zach Gallen.
Valdez to the Padres. My God.
So who are you saying? Framber
To
goes
San
where?
Diego.
San
So
Diego.
you're off Toronto now. You're going to change. You're changing. Lovers in the
Yes.
middle of the night here. Okay. Okay, San Diego. Eric? Sticking with Baltimore?
I'm sticking with Baltimore.
I'm sticking with Milwaukee. Long shot.
Lou.
I'm going to throw Lou on the
Boy, now with the Padres getting them, obviously the Giants are just now dropping like flies.
Yeah.
How about something completely out of whack?
Oh, he's going nutso. Here we go.
How about to the A's?
Oh shit! Oh, hey, they got the money.
Yeah.
Because
Could you imagine?
You sign him
Oh
now.
my god!
You got to remember, you now have what's his name is only there for another year. You have something
Right.
to look forward to when you go to Vegas.
Right?
You actually have an ace.
Shit! That would be nuts, dude. That
last
would
year
be
they signed
nuts.
a pitcher, and people
They
said,
did.
"What? They paid
They did.
$66 million for 3 years." I'm just saying, that's a wild card because hey, they have.
Wow.
You got to remember, Rookie of the Year last year in the American League, they ran 1-2. They got the youth. They got great. They have money to spend. Why not get something like I'm just because then you have a lefty righty.
Yeah.
On the top of the lineup. And again, with Houston losing them, again, is Seattle going to repeat?
Yes.
That AL West is sort of wide open. Why not?
Yeah.
That's a crazy one, but what the hell?
Why not, dude?
Lou, you're like a guy. You're like one of those guys who runs naked in the streets of San Francisco, buddy. Running
Lou, now
naked
start-
down.
start-
Come
start
on
us off
in.
with-
Come on in. The girls won't touch. Come on in. Come on in. Take care
Lou,
of
now
yourself.
start us off with your Zach Gallen prediction.
Well,
Oh,
I
God,
always
he's got
thought
that 2-0,
Zach
man.
Gallen
That's the-
was going to be a Giant. That was my thing. He has the Giants written all over him. He's good at home. He'll feel perfect at the park. If the Giants had balls, I would, but they don't.
He's got a qualifying offer. That's the
That's
problem.
the other problem. But I thought, that he sort of has. That's the Giants' pitcher. He can be good. He's not great. He's sort of in the middle. But I'll think. Who would he go to that could help? I could see him maybe going to, maybe go to Philly, because we don't know how
because they
good
lost
their-
Ranger.
They lost Ranger, and the other thing is, you got to remember, we're not even sure when he's coming back. Their ace, he's sort of like a filler. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's reports May or whatever, but we don't know how healthy he's going to be in pitching wise.
Yeah.
And then Nola is up there in age on that ridiculous contract. He hasn't been great since he signed that contract, and he is pitching for Team Italy in the WBC. So now he's taxing his.
So yeah, I'll pick Philly on that. Sort of
Let's
a
see who
safe
gets
pack,
hurt
someone
next.
that can put in. So
And,
Let's see who gets hurt
and just a yes or no, or the trade's done.
I don't think so.
You
I
don't
don't
think so?
I think the
I don't
Mets
think-
are trying to trade one of two players right now: David Peterson or Kodai Senga.
Oh, really?
I will, however, say, Eric, that
we have
if-
we have so much pitching depth. Like I don't like. They could try to.
the Giants have to do a deal. Giants have to do a deal, or I pretty much have written off the season already.
No, they're done, man. And John Shea in that same article, if you go look at it, if you go back to KNBR, about the middle of that, I think it was around the middle of the interview. It's a 16-minute interview. It sounds like the whole the Donovan and the Nico Horner talk. It's done. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't happening for the Giants. So.
Armand, thanks for coming in, bud. Oh,
one
last parting word from Armand.
My Gallon prediction. I'm gonna follow Lou a little bit with Gallon. The Detroit Tigers. You pick a lane. If you're not trading Skubal, think about this. Andrew Friedman said they're not in the pitching market. I didn't believe him at first. I thought he was just trying to use that to try to get leverage, maybe between a deal, maybe with the Brewers for Peralta. But then Peralta came to the Mets. I kind of think now Skubal's not on the market. Hey, Detroit, how about you sign Gallon to an opt-out deal? And if you're not in it, now you have 2 starting pitchers.
You could trade.
Well, technically 3 with Flaherty at the trade deadline that you could trade to anybody. I'm saying Zach Gallen to the Detroit Tigers if they showed a set of marbles or balls.
Armand's making some sense. While the San Francisco Giants, again, we could be about 4 months out from losing our number 2 pitcher. Every other team gets stronger, and we take steps backwards. I just don't understand it. Not looking to the future whatsoever right now.
No.
Oh, well.
All right, let's
So
get the hell out of
is-
here. Armand,
so is Giants
hey,
baseball.
congrats to your Mets. You guys had a hell of an offseason, man. Maybe it ain't over for you guys.
I said for David Stearns and Steve Cohen, it's never say never.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Well,
you prick.
Must
All
be
right.
nice.
Love you too, Gillen. Oh, Canada. Let's
See ya,
go
buddy.
Olympics.
See you, buddy. All right,
See ya,
pal.
man.
I love Armand, man. I love Armand. He's a great
awesome. He's
co-host
awesome.
there. He jumps in, brings some. I tell you what, Armand's got great takes, and you know what? His statistical analysis, his deep cuts and stuff. If you want to know who's traded where and when and what year, he's your guy.
He is good stuff, man.
He's always
he's a good
hanging
guy.
on an
He's a
MLB
good guy,
network
man.
too.
Yeah. Dude, I this is really tough to come on here now talking Giants. I mean, it's
I
just
don't know. Having
all
fun
these
though.
no, it's no, when we're talking about the team, this is not fun. I'm sorry. It's just
I'm having fun.
I just
I like
cannot.
talking baseball and
I like talking baseball.
Get the
But you know
juices
what?
flowing.
You know what? I want to start talking about the past, the glory days, so to speak, because the present right now, it ain't doing it for me, man.
Well, then we shouldn't do 3 and 5 days anymore.
Oh my God, tell me about
3
it.
and 4.
We'll do it bi-weekly.
Yeah, right. Post games, it's going to be after the series. It's a series recap. That's it. Come on here every single day and talk about this. God,
Dude, I told you what is going to happen come opening day and for the rest of the
And
season.
now, a Giant Sports Talk Live scoreboard update.
Giants lose again. That's it.
oh, this is
See you tomorrow night. Get Friday night, guys. I keep forgetting.
Friday.
I keep forgetting we're not doing these every. We had a special show last night. Again, we were talking more Mets than Giants, but Friday night, let's do it.
Eric,
Yeah, what the hell?
have fun
Thanks for
tomorrow
coming in,
with
Eric.
Marty. Have a good show with Marty tomorrow.
No show with Marty tomorrow. He's going to be on his way to Miami.
Oh, he's on his thing. Okay, so next
Yeah.
week. Okay.
Yeah, I'll
All
do
right.
next week.
But hey, guys, good show tonight. Flew by 133.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
So.
Guys,
And
man.
thank you, chat. Thank you, chat.
I hate having to come in here and have to freaking blow up. But man, I'm live. Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Desperate measures, sure.
This stinks. All right, guys, we'll see you Friday night.
See you, boys.
See ya. Woo.
You've been watching Giant Sports Talk Live with Eric and Glenn, a Northern Lights Entertainment Broadcasting production.